It all started with a big bang and a blast-off, thrusting Sputnik into orbit. America froze with fear after this Russian launch. They had beaten us into space. Now, was it possible that they could launch missiles against us, hitting our cities and our military bases? What were we supposed to do?
Gary Malouf and I are brother and sister. Long ago, 3 of the Nassour sisters, Florence, Marion, and Vicky, married 2 Malouf brothers and their cousin. I spent a lot of time over at my Auntie Marion's home in Holmby Hills. At this time, Auntie Flo was living with Auntie Marion. I listened as Auntie Flo told about how she really started ARCS. One evening, she was at a dinner party at Caltech and was seated next to Dr. Lee DeBridge, president of Caltech. They discussed Sputnik, which has just been launched. As she and so many Americans were very concerned about the, quote, race for space, unquote, she asked Dr. DeBridge how she could get involved to help our government compete with Russia. He said we didn't have the technology, but suggested that she form a group of philanthropic women and raise money to offer scholarships to brilliant science students, telling her that he would personally help her if she could get such a group together. Immediately, her thoughts went to the budding California aerospace industry. Flo relentlessly kept contacting the aerospace CEO, who relentlessly continued to refuse her calls, telling their secretaries, "Get rid of her." She was so persistent that some finally realized she would not be ignored and donated money, provided she would promise to stop calling. But they gave Flo their wives' names and phone numbers. ARCS was born with the Aerospace Wives. We were on our way.
Now, Auntie Flo had her vision and her dream of what could be. Science and society would sparkle together in a unique partnership. Florence then turned her attention to the public figures in both government and the entertainment field. She was able to persuade President Eisenhower, who issued a proclamation congratulating the creation of ARCS. She enlisted the help of Mayor Sam Yorty. She fearlessly approached Governor and Mrs. Reagan and encouraged them to attend many elegant and formal dinner parties. Frank Sinatra and Danny Thomas were also our guests. She encouraged Lois Linkletter to join. Now it was time, she realized, to have the goal and a creed upon which to build this new baby, one that would create a pathway to be followed by others who she dreamed one day would come after her. Our goal became our focus on excellence in science, as science is the key to our safety and our future. Science creates the technologies that benefit all humankind without regard to borders. She employed the statue of the thinker as our logo. The creed that she and the other women created over 50 years ago is still the creed that every ARCS chapter follows today. Not one word has ever been changed. ARCS is an all-volunteer women's group. 100% of all scholar contributions go directly to our scholars. Recipient scholars must be American citizens with a high academic achievement in basic science. Recipient schools select the scholars on the basis of academic achievement without regard for race, creed, or gender. Funds are raised and distributed locally to our approved institutions of higher learning. Recipient schools are selected on the basis of excellence in science. By 1960s, the ladies had raised $3,000 and that year awarded 3 scholarships of $1,000 each to 3 scholars of Caltech and Harvey Mudd. Now Florence realizes that she has to grow the baby. So in 1963, ARCS goes national, with the newly formed chapter of Houston joining us. Florence also started the Gold Cup balls, from eggheads to socialites. In 1965, she enlists the help of her nieces Marlene Malouf Hall and Carol Malouf, and asks them to start a younger women's group, which is called ARCS Juniors.
My mother, Marlene Malouf, was born in Los Angeles to Marion and Bert Malouf. Her sister Myrna and brother Robert soon followed. Upon her graduation from UCLA, where she met my father, they were married on a dark and stormy evening in 1956. As newlyweds, they moved to Tucson, where my dad learned to fly. Then they moved to Homestead Air Force Base in Miami, Florida, where Dad was co-pilot on a Boeing B-47. In its belly, they carried the A-bomb. At the Officers Club, needing a fourth for bridge, Mom met this really cute girl, Barbara Michelli. Barbara and Tony Michelli became lifelong friends. Mom and Dad had 3 children, John Hall of Phoenix, Arizona, Jeannie Fontana, MD and PhD, and me, Jacqueline Penner. After Dad finished his military career in 1957, Mom and he moved back to Los Angeles. In 1965, Mom was asked by Auntie Flo to start a group of young women who were, for the most part, the daughters of the ARCS members. So together with Betty Morgan, they encouraged many of their young friends to join, and ARCS Juniors was born. These ladies became some of my mom's best friends. She spent many happy hours with them as they traveled together, played bridge together, and played paddle tennis at the Bel Air Bay Club. She had a great ability to match people together who had much in common. If you knew my mom, you knew that she was brilliant. So, needing more mental stimulation, she went back to school where she earned her registered nursing degree and then her nurse practitioner degree. Along with working, Mom also found time to be the last president of the ARCS Auxiliary, which upon disbandment became the Stars. She knew how to include the newcomers into a social gathering and make them feel welcome. The Stars flourished. Mom was fiercely protective of and loyal to ARCS as she is a Malouf. When she was confronted by ALS, she was like that tree in Africa that grows on rocks and sends their roots straight down to hold fast and firm to what is important. Mom lost her battle for life in 2003, but she never lost her belief that family and friends are our most important strengths. Marvelous Marlene spread warmth all around her, believing that everyone was only 5 minutes away.
I remember wonderful parties ARCS Juniors had, especially the one held at the Playboy Mansion with all the bunnies running around the pool. Our Just for Fun parties were so fabulous that even our older ARCS members enjoyed being included. We were invited to attend all the exciting field trips that only ARCS, with the space CEO husbands, could provide. We were the envy of Los Angeles. Donna Tohidi Anderson called and asked me to accompany her to an ARCS Orange County dinner. Beloved Pat Beckman had founded the chapter. Donna introduced me to Pat, who encouraged me to join their chapter, and I did in 2000.
Auntie Flo, in the late 1960s, at our 10th anniversary, realizes that she has to continue to turn her attention to other areas of our nation so that we can continue to grow. Therefore, by 1973, our 15th anniversary, ARCS now numbers 6 chapters in 4 different states. The baby has become a toddler. Here we are in 1972 on the steps of the White House at what is now called the NAM, our National Annual Meeting. By 1980, 6 new chapters are charted, and so now we number 12 chapters in total. And we had awarded $7,600,000 to support 2,874 science scholars. The baby is becoming a teenager. In 1983, Los Angeles members celebrate our silver anniversary by creating a framework to allow the creation of even more chapters across America to provide scholarships for even more scholars, who we promote as the best of the brightest of American scholars. As ARCS entered into our 4th decade in 1993, we added 2 more chapters nationally. Our fundraising abilities had more than doubled from the previous decade. Collectively, we had raised $18,477,562, and we supported 3,148 national scholars. The baby has finally grown into adulthood. All along the way, we were supported by our lovely members, while we had fun forming lifetime memberships. As individuals, we learn more about many different levels of science through contact with our scholars and lectures by distinguished scientists. By 2008, our 50th anniversary, we had grown to more than 14 national chapters, had raised $66,600,402, and had awarded 12,092 scholar awards. Just 1 year later, in 2009, CASE, Council for Advancement and Support of Education, awarded ARCS its highest prize. We were singled out for our distinguished service to education. This honor was the result of our fundraising capacities and our abilities to award so many national educational science awards. Our Scholar Awards represent the largest gifts provided by any private membership organization in the United States. All along the way, we have been supported by the Malouf family, whose Auntie Florence started our organization.
I am Gary Malouf, the son of Vicki and Billy Malouf and the brother of Carol Malouf. Auntie Flo was my aunt and my mother's younger sister. All my life, the Malouf family through Moto Day and now our shopping center stood for and have been financially behind ARCS. We have believed in the vision of Auntie Flo, so our current generation of Maloufs have followed my aunt's dream by financially sponsoring this event tonight. It was her vision that the aerospace industry would be the cornerstone of ARCS, the charitable organization that she founded. So our family wanted to honor her dream by returning to space exploration with Endeavour and Captain Mark Kelly. I thank you, our guests, for continuing to see the importance of our family's vision of making America stronger and safer through the scientific advancements made by brilliant scholars financially enriched by ARCS. I became actively involved with ARCS through my cousin Marlene Malouf Hall, who was like my sister. She was the founder, along with Betty Morgan, of ARCS Juniors. I went to their events because their friends were more my age and I could better relate to them. My then wife, Elaine Malouf, was asked by Marlene to join, and so she did. It was difficult to say no to anything Marlene asked you to do. Since Marlene's death in 2003, I have actively sponsored tables at various ARCS galas. When my friends ask me why donate to this ARCS charity, I replied that there are no other charities like ARCS. It fills a gap in education. Most charities give to children. They try to level the playing field. ARCS supports college scholars and postgraduates in their quest for excellence by keeping America stronger for all of us and our grandchildren. That is the real strength and future of ARCS. Those beliefs were the dreams of Florence Malouf and are the reason why today's young women will continue to join ARCS.
One of my earliest memories of ARCS is through my mother, Marion Malouf, who worked behind the scenes doing all the follow-up and organizing for her sister, my Auntie Flo, who was the front person and the face of ARCS at the time. My mother didn't like to be the center of attention. She just did the work and grew her prize-winning Cymbidium orchids, which many of you will remember she donated for the Orchid Ball. That way she carried on my father's orchid hobby and kept his memory alive. I grew up on Baroda Drive in Holmby Hills. After graduating from USC and earning an MBA in real estate and finance in 1973, I started to escort my mother to ARCS galas, since my father Bert had passed away some years before. One of my early memories is the year that Gumps in Beverly Hills hosted a cocktail reception for ARCS, and then all of the guests walked across the street to the Beverly Wilshire Hotel for dinner and dancing. It was an exciting and elegant evening. I also have fond memories of many of the ARCS Juniors parties. My sister Marlene Malouf Hall had founded the Juniors. Their parties were usually less formal than the LA chapters, so many of those ladies and their husbands often attended the parties in costume. After Marlene passed away in 2003, the Malouf family has sponsored special tables in her memory at the ARCS galas. Cousin Carol Malouf and I have donated scholar awards to the Orange County chapter for the last several years. For the gala this year, it has been my great pleasure to help with the layout of the Endeavour Pavilion. This is what I have done for Malouf Properties. All of the creation and planning of the physical design and layout of the buildings in our shopping centers and medical building. However, like my mother, I usually prefer to work behind the scenes. To me, the strength of ARCS is that it fills a category in supporting the college education of future scientists, which no other charity does. I believe it is these funded scientists who will continue to keep America safe and strong and on the forefront of cutting-edge technology.
We have seen how the baby grew from infancy in 1960 with the awarding of 3 scholarships to the STEM giant that we have become today. What started as a chance seating arrangement after Sputnik and a vision by a dedicated, persistent, energetic, and creative woman who had a vision of a partnership between AKIDS and socialites is going forth stronger than ever with 1,500 national members. Florence Malouf had created a framework for success in STEM financing for our future. As of tonight, May 15, 2016, we are now 16 national chapters strong. Collectively, we have donated over $100 million to 9,263 scholars. We have funded over 15,965 years of scholar awards, and we have partnered with 53 academic institutions in 608 separate departments. 3,600 patents are registered to 1,000 ARCS scholars. 1,800 science-related startups have produced over $10 billion in annual income. Los Angeles Founder Chapter alone has donated over $28 million to more than 3,500 scholars.
When I hear our brilliant Orange County ARCS scholars speak at dinners in the Beckman Center and tell about their research projects, I hear how accomplished, passionate, dedicated, and articulate they are about their cutting-edge technology. That is the real promise of ARCS.